Hi Aries, welcome to your May collective reading. My name is Kimberly from The Path Illuminated, and as I mentioned, I will be doing a general reading for the month of May for the Aries collective. As this is a general reading, it may resonate, it may not. If it doesn't resonate, don't try to force it. As I mentioned, I'm from The Path Illuminated. I am a tarot reader, an alignment guide, a coach, and this is a general reading, and at the end of the day, it's really important for you to realize that time is fluid, energy is fluid. I do not consider myself to be a psychic or a fortune teller, but I am an energy reader, so I will be picking up on whatever energy is around you and what you should be aware of during the month of May. So it's to provide some insight, feedback, food for thought, a different perspective, but always remember that you have free will and you know better than anybody else when it comes to your life to trust your instincts and trust your inner guidance. I do hope that whatever messages come through, that they will be supportive for you during the month of May, but trust yourself and trust your own guidance above anything or anybody else. So thanks again for being here, Aries. Angels, spirits, and guides, please help me to provide an accurate reading for the Aries collective for the month of May. Please give me any messages, guidance, insights that will be beneficial for the Aries collective. I will be pulling 5 cards, and then I will pull some clarifiers, and I will end with an animal spirit oracle card as well. It is getting close to the end of April. I think today is the 17th. So we have a solar eclipse and new moon in Aries on the 19th/20th, depending on where you are in the world in your time zone. And then the day after that whole intense energy, we have Mercury retrograde. So I have been wanting to start my YouTube channel for a while, but I've been super busy. Okay, well, we've got 3 cards here, so I'm gonna take them. But I've really been trying to find the balance between work and self-care and all of the other responsibilities that I've got going on. And I'm really, curious to see how the energies are going to be shifting with all of this astrological transits that are coming up in the near term. We'll see how it goes. Overall, I do think, collectively speaking, it's going to be a time for all of us to retreat a bit and slow down. That's what retrogrades are all about. I am not an astrologist, but I do follow astrology, and I know that if Mercury retrograde can teach us anything, it is to slow down, take a beat, and to move away from being reactive and to really focus on being more responsive, because what we hear, see, and feel may not be 100% accurate. So if that is helpful advice for you, I hope it will be helpful. All right, so we've got the initial 5 cards out here. I'm going to pull some clarifiers and also just like take some time to take in the cards and the energies. So the first card that came out was the Hanged Man, which is all about a change in perspective. It also talks about taking some time away. Pardon me, I had a card falling before. Taking some time away to reconnect with you and to take a beat, which I was literally just talking about when it comes to this Mercury retrograde that is coming up. All right. So the Hanged Man is clarified by the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So this right now in April, Spirit may be asking you and providing you an opportunity to take a different perspective when it comes to your earthly possessions, your pentacles, your abundance, what you are focused on. You may have in the recent past or for an extended period of time, Aries, you may have been very focused on your pentacles, on your finances. And it seems to me like the universe is potentially going to give you a situation where you're going to need to take a step back from that focus. The next card is the Six of Cups in reverse. When it's upright, it talks a lot about nostalgia and can also talk about inner child healing. But as it's in reverse, I see this as perhaps you are trying to, with regard to this situation where you're being asked to take a step back from focusing on your pentacles, from focusing on your 3D reality, that perhaps you're being asked to take a different perspective of how you grew up, of what your values are, what you've internalized. There might be some inner child healing that you need to readdress. It's clarified by the Seven of Swords in reverse. Now, the Seven of Swords does talk about potential deception, and swords are an air energy, so it's mental conflict, paranoia, anxiety. So I see this as an admonition to not lie to yourself and not get stuck in trying to make your past something it was not. I can speak from my own personal experience in the sense that, like, I was born very poor. I was raised on welfare and food stamps, and I have spent my entire life trying to reestablish my own values around my own material abundance in this 3D reality, which has not been easy at all. But it has been a situation where I have had to go back to my past and better understand how I was raised, the traumas that I went through, and how they affected me, and the ways in which I trapped myself mentally and deceive myself mentally because of whatever conditions that I have been given, right? As a child, we don't get to choose our family, although I know some spiritual people might have a different perspective, but whatever happens prior to us being here, we don't choose our families or the circumstances that we're born into, but we do our best. But oftentimes it can be very difficult to really identify and understand how some of our core beliefs and wounds really control us and keep us trapped, because in order for us to go back and change our perspective, that means really getting to those core wounds that may be really painful to address. And it's not always the easiest to maybe take responsibility for the fact that we have been keeping ourselves trapped in a lack mentality, or perhaps we have, been conditioned to believe that if we're not overworking or overdoing, that we can't be abundant, which is not true. The next card is Judgment. So I see this as, the universe is behind you. It sees how much work you've been doing, Aries. And I am a Pisces sun and a Pisces rising with an Aries moon. And I love my Aries people. They're some of my closest friends, and they have great judgment. I think that they can be one of the most intuitive signs if they can sort of, just like any of us, get past limiting beliefs, old patterns and conditioning that stop you from trusting yourself. So I think the universe is, telling you that it's here to help you with these judgment calls. and is providing you with the grace that you need to come out of this place where you have been stuck in your own core wounds and have been allowing, you know, the conditions of your childhood and your upbringing to keep you trapped in a place that no longer works for you. It is, judgment is clarified by the Three of Pentacles, and Three of Pentacles is all about working alongside other individuals that are aligned with you, that want to help you. I know that Aries are extremely independent, go-getters, many times entrepreneurs, CEOs. And so what I'm seeing here is that the universe is saying, look, you've done all this work. You do need to take a step back and change your perspective, address some of your core wounds, be honest with yourself, identify the ways that you have been keeping yourself trapped mentally and otherwise. Use your judgment and your discernment and understand, Aries, that you cannot and should not be doing this alone. So whether this is, you know, working with friends who are supportive, or finding, you know, colleagues that want to help you get to the next step, or whether it is working with a therapist or a coach, the universe is asking you to use your judgment and to understand that you don't have to and should not be doing this and going through this process alone. You're going to need additional support. The next card is the Knight of Cups in reverse. And this can talk about a delay in moving forward, and also having, because cups are, you know, it is intuition, it is emotional communication, emotional new beginnings. And it seems like perhaps in the month of May, there's a bit of a delay because your intuition and your emotional capacity is a bit blocked, which I think this makes a lot of sense. Seeing the Six of Cups in reverse, that there are some unaddressed emotional core wounds that are keeping you stuck, and until you deal with them, it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward, and you need to change your perspective on yourself, on the situation, and how you're planning to move forward. I think this is all about asking you to have compassion and understanding for yourself and the ways in which you trap yourself and keep yourself from moving forward, and realizing that, like I said before, Aries, you're a very hard worker, but you cannot work yourself out of addressing your trauma and the binds that hold you back, the core wounds and beliefs that are running your operating system. You need to go back. You need to understand how your past and your experiences have gotten you to a place of believing that you have to do everything on your own, of believing that the only way to succeed is to overwork and overdo and prove to everybody that you don't need anybody, when actually we all need somebody. Change your perspective. You don't need to be harsh with yourself. Be loving, be understanding, be patient. I know that Aries can very much be perfectionists. They, you know, they want to be the best at what they do, and I admire that about them, but sometimes that can actually set you back because you feel like you should be going in some direction that you have found a block towards. And instead of trying to force yourself into that direction, it is time to take a different perspective, take a step back, and reassess how your own thoughts and beliefs and conditioning are keeping you in an unhealthy place mentally and psychologically and emotionally. And the Eight of Pentacles is the last card, and it's in reverse. The Eight of Pentacles is all about hard work, consistency. And when I see it in reverse, I see this as the universe saying, Aries, I love what you're doing, but you're doing too much. You need to slow down, take a different perspective, realize you have been working super hard this whole time, but you're going to burn yourself out. It is clarified by the Eight of Cups in reverse. So the Eight of Cups in reverse is about walking away from things that no longer serve you, walking away from, you know, situations that are emotionally draining, and it's in reverse. So I think, again, that this energy in May is asking you to take a step back and to understand the ways that you sabotage yourself, and that just because you're working really, really hard doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing. Sometimes the work, Aries, is in slowing down and taking a different perspective so that you can understand yourself, your motivations a lot more deeply. And I think this tracks in the sense that we are moving into this retrograde season. It is eclipse season, which talks all about fated events. And so I think that the universe is very much admonishing you to take some time to reassess where you are, where you want to be, and realize that ultimately when it comes to the blocks and the slowdowns that you are dealing with, a lot of that is coming from the universe. The universe is asking you to slow down. It's asking you to really understand how you yourself and your lack of emotional stability and groundedness is stopping you from moving forward. And I think it's going to take some time and some grace and just patience. And I think all of us are going to need a lot of patience during this eclipse season, during this Mercury retrograde. So this makes a lot of sense. So that's what I've got for you, Aries. I think it's a pretty clear reading to slow down, take a beat, keep it real with yourself, identify the ways in which you yourself are holding you back. And some of that is overworking because you believe that unless you are working all the time and always striving for something more, that you are not going to be successful. But that has to do with how you've been conditioned and how you've grown up. And you have been a bit too focused on your 3D reality, and Spirit is asking you to reassess your mental, emotional, and psychological well-being during this retrograde season so that you can figure out where you're blocked and how to move forward in a balanced and healthy way. So I got from the Animal Spirit deck, the Nightingale, which is a really pretty card. I am going to read from the book, so just give me a moment. And this is Air Energy, according to the book. And that's like a really tiny book. So my fat fingers take a second to get to the right page. All right, Air Energy, Nightingale. Thanks for being here, Aries. If you like this reading, please like and subscribe. All right, Nightingale. Fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. The simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable among the flashy plumage of other birds, transports its listener to the realm of poetry. Nightingale energy is with us when we write, compose, and especially when we sing. It reminds us that music heals the deepest wounds. This card indicates a need to open the bridge between the heart and the voice. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, and let it out. When in balance, sings, speaks freely with kindness. When out of balance, shy, lump in the throat. To bring into balance, music. So I think this Animal Spirit card is talking to how you are going to deal with this energy in May, how you're going to deal with the blockages and the limiting beliefs is by expressing yourself in a more artistic way, in a way that is more personal for you. So it's going to be about music, dancing, and movement, but also journaling and allowing yourself to come from a place of connecting with yourself just for you and not for anybody else to see it and not for you to gain any sort of accolades at work. It's just for you. If you can reconnect with yourself and the joy of being, that is going to do a lot for you during the month of May when you're dealing with having to take a step back, having to slow down, having to take some time, which I know Aries can have a challenge with, all of us, especially like the energies that are coming in, or it's going to be a lot of back and forth. The way that you're going to deal with this on a very practical level, listen to your favorite music, go out dancing with friends, make sure that you're moving your body in a joyful way. That's going to help break up the energy and help you to connect more deeply with your emotions and yourself. And it's going to help you to have grace during this period for yourself. So embrace the weight, embrace the, perceived blockages and stops. That's what this season is about. That's what Mercury retrograde is bringing you. But ultimately, Aries, I know you're going to figure it out. So thanks so much for being here. I hope this message was helpful for you, and I will see you soon.